When Spider-Man swings through the concrete canyons of New York City, thwarting crooks and saving the little guys just trying to live their daily lives, that's when his stories are most successful. And that is the focus of issue 801 of Amazing Spider-Man. Issue 801 is Dan Slott's final issue on the book, wrapping up the longest run of any writer on Amazing Spider-Man. Slott took over the book in 2010 and never looked back. Now, his take on Spider-Man didn't always work for me, but his issue 801 is perfect Spidey. It's a simple story, told from the point of view of a man named Kenneth Kincaid Jr., who is just having the worst day of his life. He's late for something, he's rushing around into a convenience store just to get a pack of cigarettes, and then he finds a crook behind the counter. And the crook orders him to join the clerk behind the counter. But our man, Kenneth Kincaid, he refuses, saying he's really got to be somewhere else. And as the crook is about to pull the trigger, Spider-Man breaks through the storefront window heroically. I'll come back to this moment later when I want to talk about the art. But needless to say, Spidey saves the day, and our protagonist, Kenneth, rushes into the hospital room of his dying father, getting there just in time to say goodbye. The pacing of the issue increases, giving us panels, then, that capture moments of this man's life through time as he gets older and older. But then, the shift focuses to Spider-Man, as he's fighting off some bad guys who are after a briefcase. What they're after, who they are, none of it really matters. The main villain, however, gets away as Spidey is tangled up in a horde of baddies. He calls out for someone to stop the one who got away, and a foot reaches out from the watching crowds, tripping the villain. Spidey webs all of the criminals up and thanks the man who tripped the villain, and it's Kenneth Kincaid Jr., just a little older. And this is the heart of the issue. This scene depicts the simple magic of what Spider-Man is, what makes him enduring. Spider-Man thanks Kincaid for his help, and Kincaid thanks Spider-Man for saving his life once years ago. He thanked him for helping him quit smoking, obviously because, he didn't get his cigarettes, and I guess that was a turning point in that moment of his life. It's a small thing, saving him from smoking, but it is profound in its smallness. Spider-Man, by taking on the street-level thugs and looking out for the average man, has personal and wide-reaching impact. Saving a man from his own harmful habits is heroic in a Spider-Man story, and I love that. And I love the intimacy and simplicity of how Slott presents the essence of Spider-Man. The serendipity of how Spider-Man impacted Kincaid's life fits neatly in with the tragedy of Uncle Ben's death at the start of Peter Parker's career. Early on in the issue, Slott takes us through the origin of Spider-Man's fatal act. He didn't realize then the power of his influence, and when he failed to act, he couldn't have known the unintended consequence of Uncle Ben's death. In the same way, he couldn't have known what he did in that convenience store would save Kincaid's life, would stop him from smoking. Although he may never see every impact that he's had, he's aware of his influence, for good and for ill. But the art team on this book is also aware of their influence. The art is by the talented Marcos Martin and his colorist Munsta Vicente. Both artists portray Spider-Man much as he was originally portrayed by Steve Ditko back in the 60s. He's a little slimmer, with squintier eyes, often hunched over in an almost creepy way. I mean, the man was named Spider-Man. Also, Ditko originally designed Spider-Man as a red and black hero, with blue acting as the highlights on the black. But over time, the black became blue. Vicente alludes to the original design with his coloring here, and I love it. Martin's characters emote effectively, which is perfect for a story less about heroics and more about personal moments of normal life. But that doesn't mean his backgrounds aren't rich in detail, and his panels lack purposeful structure and pacing. No, in this book, in every Martin book, no page layout is like any other. He gives us a one-page retelling of Spider-Man's origin to echo how Spider-Man's actions unexpectedly impacts others later in this story. But the well-trodden story beats are fresh and presented from Spider-Man's point of view. With all of this and the rich hero moments and action beats in the convenience store, we witness a master team deliver a quiet, intimate story as a beautiful tribute to one of comics' greatest characters, the Amazing Spider-Man.